secrets. We're actually going to unlock the exact secrets you need to skyrocketing your business credit lines. I mean, how do we get more credit lines easily and quickly to be able to use to grow our business? And how do we make it easier to get approved for those credit lines? And how do we get higher and higher and higher limits for those credit lines? Well, today we're going to dive into how to unlock 5 of my top secrets to be able to access unlimited amounts of business credits through credit lines. We are going to not only just unlock unlimited amount of business credit through credit lines, we're going to talk about how to get approved for more credit lines and how to get your limits higher and higher and higher on those credit lines as well. Before we jump in too far, I want to remind you of a live event we have coming up. It's the first time we've ever done anything like this. It's called the Funding 50 Challenge, and it takes place June 26th. Now, we are legitimately going to go through 50, did I have that wrong? 50 different ways to get funding to grow your business. 50. We're going to talk about stuff you can get as a startup, stuff you can get that you don't have to have collateral for, stuff you can get if you have credit issues. I mean, there's no scenario that you or anybody else has that you will not be able to get funding from this. As a matter of fact, you're going to walk away with at least 3 to 5 definite ways to get funding for your business, if not many, many, many more. So this is called the Funding 50 Challenge. You can actually go ahead and schedule, or you could scan the QR code. It's right there on the actual screen. You can also go to funding50challenge.com. That's funding50challenge.com and register 100% free. Like, it's 100% free to attend this thing. In 3 days, we're going to go through 50 different funding options. We're going to bring lenders in. They're going to introduce funding options to you as well. We've got like a business credit boot camp on bonus day. It's going to be off the charts. So if you want 50 different ways to get funding for your business, go to funding50challenge.com or scan that QR code. I'll throw that QR code up throughout our training today. Okay, so let's get some credit lines. So look, the question is what would you do with tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars of access to credit lines? I don't know. I mean, you probably know better than I do in your specific business of what you would do with that money. Well, that's what business credit gives you. When we talk about business credit building, we're really talking about getting credit lines that we can use to grow our business. Now, a lot of benefits here. First of all, with credit lines, they're not loans, so we don't have to pay a set amount the minute we get access to that credit line. We're given a limit, and then we pay payments on that limit, whatever we use. So we can oftentimes rack up that thing, max it out. Sometimes we might pay it off, but only pay payments on what we use. And revolving credit is really highly beneficial when the economy shifts because there's all these unknowns. Consumer confidence drops, consumer spending pulls back. So there's all these unknowns, and it usually adversely affects all businesses, right? We see all kinds of companies out there laying off tens of thousands of people, even major tech companies, as a result of these changes. So these uncertainties make it more important than ever that we have access to what we call revolving credit lines, credit cards that we can use to be able to fund to grow the business. Now, what's nice about business credit and these credit lines we're talking about is there's unlimited potential for you. And here's what I mean by that. If I go get a loan right now, it's like based on my revenue typically. Whatever my revenue is determines how much I can get approved for. If I go to get a credit line, it's exactly the same thing. If I go to my bank and get a credit line, it's the same thing. But when we talk about vendor credit lines, when we talk about business credit, it's unlimited. There's no cap to how much you can get. I can go today and literally apply and get 10 different credit lines with 10 different sources. And tomorrow I can go get another 20 if I want. The only limit of how much is available to me is how much I actually go to apply for. So there's no restriction from a bank telling me what I can't have. I determine how much I can actually have. And the result of that is that some people come in and get 50,000. Some get $1 million plus. Like I oftentimes do trainings where I show testimonial after testimonial after testimonial for our $1 Million Club, our clients that have gotten over $1 million in business credit. And every one of them will tell you the same story. I tried, I failed, I couldn't get money, and now I've got over $1 million plus in business credit, right? So there really is unlimited potential. You're the one that determines how much you could actually how much you could actually get, because you're the one that determines how much you apply. But how do you do this? How do you tap in and get like skyrocketing approvals, unlimited access to business credit? Well, here's my top 5 secrets to be able to do so. Number 1, you have to truly understand what lenders are looking for, and it ain't what you think it is. I don't use the word ain't unless I'm really trying to make a point, and it ain't what you think it is. See, most of us think of our income. We think of our revenue. We think of our time in business. We think of our credit scores as the reason we get denied, but that's not the case at all. If you talk to people that are underwriters at big banks, then what you'll find is that the majority of applications that get denied are denied because the lender either doesn't think you're credible, legitimate, have a real reputable business, or two, they don't even think the application is legit. They think it's fraud. They think your business, their business applying, is fraudulent. Now, this is the number one reason that business owners get denied is because of this category. They think it's fraud, or they don't think you're credible. It accounts for upwards of like 60% of all denials. So that means 6 out of 10 times that somebody gets turned down has nothing to do with qualification. It just has to do with basic credibility points. Now, I talk about this quite a bit. Lenders call this fundability. And what it really comes down to is it comes down to making sure your business looks legitimate, making sure your business actually looks credible to lenders and creditors. And by the way, if you're just coming in, tell me where you're coming in from. Mike, sir, thank you for coming in. Humble's from DC. Daryl, thank you for coming in and saying hello. Oh, you can't hear me. Is everybody okay? Can everybody hear me okay? If you can hear me, type in yes into the chat if you don't mind. Because I know somebody had said that they can't hear me, and I want to make sure that my audio is working good. So if you don't mind, if you just type in the chat, if you can hear me, if you could just type in the chat right now, I'd appreciate it. Okay, so that being said, we've got to make sure that your fundability is set up correctly, that you look credible, that you don't look like you're fraudulent. Okay, yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Somebody finally spoke up and said they can hear me because somebody else said they couldn't. So the first thing is we just got to make sure the business is credible. And what we do there is everything we put on an application needs to be like legitimate, and it needs to be separate from us personally. So I need a business address, not like a Gmail address. That's my personal address, for example, right? Professional website set up, an address for my business that's not my home, a phone number for my business that's not my mobile phone, a license to show the business is actually really there, a separate bank account for the business. I mean, we kind of look at it a few different ways. One, you've got the office, your business office, a phone number, an email address, a website, an actual address, right? That's the office. The second time that we look at this thing is we look at like banking. We look at overall, like, are we set up with the banking system? Do we know what our bank rating is? Are we managing our bank account responsibly and not hurting our banking scores? Do we have a business license, for example? And then the other part of that is just the setup of the business. Do you have a separate entity? Do you have a separate EIN? Does your business name, do you know what your business NAICS or industry code is? Does that reflect that you're not in a high-risk industry? Does your name not reflect that you're in a high-risk industry? Or does it have something in there that reflects your high risk? If we focus on these three pillars, kind of the banking side of things, the entity setup type of things, and then the office type of things, and this is separate where the business looks credible, legitimate, and then all of our information, online and offline, is all the same, we did it here. We accomplished step one. Tip number one, we now look credible, we look legitimate, and what got 60% of business owners denied is now eliminated, and now we see significantly more approvals. And that's really the first step to getting access to unlimited credit lines. Now, the second step here is that we want to come in and we want to start building our business credit, okay? So that being said, building business credit is all about getting credit that we can use to grow our business. Now, per SBA, these limits are 10 to 100 times higher than with consumer credit. So we're talking about very high limit accounts. We start with $5,000 and $10,000 limits. Then we jump to $15,000 and $20,000 limits. Then we jump up to $30,000 to $50,000 limit accounts. Then we've got clients that get $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 limit individual credit lines with vendors. So we typically start building in a systematic process, building our business credit. We're getting some vendors to start, and those starter vendors get us outdoor supplies, and they get us marketing services and website services. Some, for example, are Granger and Uline, for example, or Creative Analytics. They'll give us credit when they have none. They report that credit to the reporting agencies. It establishes initial business credit for us, and we continue to then qualify for more and more credit as we go. Now, if you're working with Credit Suite, for example, well, we just make this easier because we do what's called tiers. We tell you the exact credit to apply for in the exact order so our clients don't get denied. They know what will approve them every step of the way. If you're doing this on your own without like coaching and software and everything Credit Suite provides, then you just know it's going to take a lot longer and you're going to have a lot more frustration and denials. But either path will get you to the end result of starting to get business credit that you can actually use to grow your business. So that's really my tip number two. After we come in and we set up that credibility, tip number 2 is we got to start building initial credit that then reports to the reporting agencies. We want to start with those starter vendors. Then we want to move on to retail credit, fleet credit, and auto financing, and use computer credit at HP, Apple, Dell, and be able to get even Visa card, MasterCard, or Universal credit as we continue to go. Now, if you want help along the way, then we've got a phenomenal business credit building guide, which maps out every single step of this process for you. Right here it is. You can go to the QR code. You can scan that QR code right now. Oh, that's not that. That is the wrong thing. Do not look at that one. That is a challenge that we no longer have. Well, this will actually help you with the credibility. So if you go to creditsuite.com/foundation, this is going to help you with that step 1. This is going to help you with building that business credibility. Now, again, we talked about step 2, and that is all about building your business credit. This guide right here will get you that. You can see on my screen the actual URL. You can scan the QR code as well. That's going to help you with my tip 2 of building business credit. So there's 2 free assets that are going to help you with those first 2. Now, tip 3 is something that a lot of people wouldn't even think about. And that is basically you've got to use the credit that you get. So I talk to so many business owners, and I don't even know what their intention is. They're trying to build business credit to get to the next step. They only care about starter vendors because starter vendors get them to retail credit. They only care about retail credit because that gets them to universal credit. And then they get a Visa card, and they use it for the exact same thing they could have used the retail credit they got months ago for. Your limits get higher and higher when credit issuers see you're using the credit that you're being given. You see, usually on a consumer credit report, we see available credit. We see the credit limit on the credit report. But on business credit reports, you don't see any of that. On business credit reports, what you actually see is the recent amount of credit you've used. So business credit reports show how much credit you're using that you're being given, not what your limits are. And that goes to show you the importance of this in the business world. You see, in the consumer world, we think the limit is what matters. But in the business world, the limit doesn't matter. What you're using on that credit matters because that's what's going to tie into your future high approvals. So let me give you an example. If you only come in and you spend $100 or $200 on every credit card you're given or credit line you're given, then you're not going to get a $10,000 credit line as your next credit line. Because why would anybody give you 10 grand if you've never spent more than $200 or $300? But if you come in and you spend $200 and you get another credit limit, you're spending $500 a month and you're paying it off. Then you get another one, you're spending $2,000 a month and you're paying it off. Now what happens is your limits will get higher and higher. Your approval amounts will get higher and higher as you go. And this is the difference between clients that we help see get over $1 million in business credit and those are the ones that get 50 grand. The ones that get $1 million are using the credit they're getting. They're actually using the credit to grow their business, and their business is getting bigger, and it needs more money, and they're using more and more credit. The limits get higher and higher and higher and higher and higher until they have $300,000 plus limits, and I can show you a lot of those examples. The other ones are just spending $50. They're spending $100, and then they're only getting these very small limit increases because they're not proving they're using the credit they're actually getting. So the bottom line is you've got to use the credit that you're actually given. By using the credit you're given, then you're actually updating your credit reports showing that you have a high use of the credit, not limits, and that is what ties into you getting higher and higher and higher approvals. Now, that brings me to tip number 4, and that's you've got to get set up with all 3 credit reporting agencies, Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian. Now, full disclosure, okay, PayNet, Credit Safe. I could sit here for an hour and tell you about hundreds of credit reporting agencies for businesses around the world. But Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian are the main 3 that we care about. These are the 3 that insurance companies, lenders, credit issuers, suppliers, they're the ones that all of those are using. So we've got to build business credit with each of the reporting agencies, not just one. So if I go pay D&B for their credit builder, for example, then if we go pay D&B for the credit builder, the problem with that is that then we're only building credit with Dun & Bradstreet. We're not building credit with anybody else. So the problem there is then if we go to get a credit card, well, that doesn't help us because a lot of business credit card issuers look at Experian. If we go to get a loan, well, that doesn't help us because a lot of banks look at Equifax. So the bottom line is we've really got to make sure that we're building business credit for all 3, Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. That way we have a well-balanced business credit reports across all 3. And now we've got reports that lenders are going to see, that credit issuers are going to see, that insurance companies are going to see. If we only build credit with one of those sources and not the others, then we're not going to be able to get a lot of what we need because We might have built D&B and they're only looking at Experian, or we might have built D&B, but they're looking at Experian and Equifax. So we've got to make sure that we have a good balance of credit amongst all three reporting agencies, because it's very, very, very important, because like I said, some credit issuers only look at one, Experian. And a lot of banks only look at Equifax. And a lot of insurance companies only look at D&B. So by having them all built across all three, we're appealing to everybody we'd want to appeal to give us money. And that brings me to tip number 5 of my 5 tips to be able to skyrocket your approvals on these credit lines. And that is, you've got to be patient. Look, the reality is business credit building is a process. Yes, our clients use our software, our fundability software, and our advisors to get through the process all the way to the end in 4 to 6 months. They're getting approvals in 1 week. They're getting more and more approvals as they go. By the time they're at 4 to 6 months, we've got clients that get 185, 350,000 in auto financing alone without a guarantee and credit check. But if you're doing this on your own, you don't have a coach that stands beside you and help you. You don't have software that helps you through it. You can expect this process to potentially take years because you don't know what you're doing. You're just trying to figure the thing out. So the bottom line is you've got to be patient as you're going through this process. And you need to start this process before you need money. Okay, there's this old adage in lending that lenders only give you money when you don't need it, meaning that when you most need money the most, they're not there to help you. Well, there's some truth to that, because most people try to go get money when they're desperate. Their credit cards are maxed out. Their utilization's out of whack. Their credit scores are bad. They're falling apart, and that's when they go to get money. And lenders do not want to lend to you in that scenario. They're well more inclined to lend to you when things are going well and you're on the upswing. So start building business credit early. That'll give you a credit profile. It'll give you a credit score. When you need a loan, when you need a credit line, you need a business credit card, you're able to get so because you've been working on building the business credit. You're not waiting until you actually need it to then start the process of building it. Very important for us as entrepreneurs, because the reality is opportunities present themselves for us all the time. And the difference between us building a 7, 8, or 9-figure business and not is the fact that we're available and have the ability to take advantage of those opportunities. But if we never have the ability to take advantage of the opportunities, we can't grow the business that gives us true financial freedom. And let's be honest, that's why we're here. We're here to accomplish true financial freedom. And the only way we can do that is to be able to grow our business. The only way we can grow our business is to get capital to grow the business. Yeah, it's almost impossible to grow a 7, 8, 9-figure business if you don't have the capital you need to do so. That's why if you pull a business credit report for Walmart or Apple, 2 of the biggest retailer and most valuable companies in the world, you'll see they have hundreds and hundreds of accounts on their business credit reports. They're using OPM to grow those businesses. They're using other people's money successfully. It's why big companies get to be big and why small businesses oftentimes stay small. It's the only main difference is their ability to manage capital, to get the capital they need to actually grow the actual enterprise. So that's what we want to be able to do. And in order to do that, we've got to know that we got to start building business credit early and be patient as we're going through this process. And again, we can help you expedite those results. That's obviously what Credit Suite does. So you can go ahead and we'll do a free finance assessment with you as well. And the free finance assessment, we can tell you all the money that you're able to get now and give you tips and tactics just to be able to better improve your business credit quickly. And let me see, I'll pull that up on the screen for you right now. So let's recap. A lot of you are just coming in right now. So let's talk about these top 5 tips. The number 1 tip, you've got to look credible. We got to separate ourselves from the business. We have a professional email address. We have a license, a bank account for our business, separate address, separate phone number. Our business needs to be separate from us. Everything needs to be congruent. This makes our business look credible. Number 2, we've got to build business credit. Lenders and credit issuers are looking at business credit quality to determine if we should get approved, how much money we get, and the rates and terms we'll pay. So by building business credit and getting credit lines, we can use that money to fund our business and open up the door for us and unlock opportunities for us to get loans and credit lines. Number 3, we got to use that credit. Higher approvals tie in to how much we're using the credit that we're given. So in order to succeed, we have to actually use the credit that we're given ongoing, and that's what will give us higher and higher approvals. Number 4, we've got to build business credit across Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. They're all used for a different reason by different sources. Lenders use one, credit issuers use another's used by insurance companies. So we got to build credit across all 3 to be balanced and to make it easy for us to be able to get the best terms on financing we get. And number 5, we need to start early in this process and be patient. And we have to know that if you're working with a company like Credit Suite, it might take months, but if you're doing it on your own, it could definitely take years. You have to be patient and start the process before you're actually ready and need to do so. So if you're really looking to get maximum funding for your business, do not forget, we have the Funding 50 Challenge taking place June 26th through the 28th. It's 3 days. In 3 days, we are covering 50 different ways to get money to grow your business. 50. We are going to show you at least 3 or 5 ways you can use to get money to grow your business. Even if you think there's no way you can qualify, we're going to have at least 3 to 5 solutions that will work for you no matter how bad your credit is, you're starting up, you need millions for expansion, any of that, we will have a solution for you. It's 100% free to register. You can scan the QR code or go to funding50challenge.com. Funding, the number 50, the word challenge.com. And funding50challenge.com, you register. It's 100% free. You get access to our entire community that's all there and dedicated to building business credit and financing. You're getting 3 days of packed training in there, 100% at no cost. We've got lenders coming on. Lenders will be there even to approve you on site during the actual event. And we dive into over 50 different ways to get money for your business. So make sure you register for that now at funding50challenge.com or just simply scan the QR code. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Rick says, hey, if I have an S Corp and take cell phone lines and owned to went to creditors, can I still build my business credit? You would struggle. If your business phone number is a cell phone, many sources will automatically decline you. Because the minute you put that phone number in as your business phone number, their computer's identified as a cell phone. And let's be honest, which legitimate, credible business out there has a mobile phone as its main phone number? It's just not a sign of credibility. We see more people denied because of a non-business phone or using a mobile phone than almost any other reason when it comes to fundability. So, Rick, without a doubt, you need to get a business phone number or a voice over IP number. You do not want to use a mobile phone by any means. That will absolutely get you denied. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Don't forget to join us June 26th. Okay, we've still got a couple weeks, but you can register now for free for the Funding 50 Challenge, where we talk about 50 different ways to fund your business. And again, if there's anything we can help you with along the way, let us know here at Credit Suite. We are dedicated to helping you build business credit and get financing. And let's see what Rick says. No, I'm talking about it. If I had cell phone bills, didn't pay them and sent to collections, yeah, you can still build business credit. Most of those cell phone bills are not going to report to the actual business credit reporting agencies. So that being said, anything on the consumer credit side isn't going to be a problem, but it's a good idea, Rick, to get your business credit reports and see what's on there to see if anything negative is on there. And our team can help you get your business credit reports. We'll even review those reports for you for free. So you can go to you can go to creditsuite.com/consult and schedule time, or just give us a call. We can talk through that with you. So again, don't forget to register at funding50challenge.com. And Rick says, hey, it's under my EIN and DUNS number. Rick, have you pulled your business credit report? Let me ask you that. Have you pulled your Dun & Bradstreet credit report? Is it on your Dun & Bradstreet credit report? How is it reported on your Dun & Bradstreet credit report? Is it on there as a collection? Is it on there as a late payment? That would be my question. So I know if you could type that in the chat right now. You said, hey, I've got this thing on my credit report. Have you looked at your Dun & Bradstreet credit report, and have you verified that it's there is my question, Rick. And if it is, how is it being reported? If you could type that in, I could probably give you a better answer. As I get ready to wrap up, we'll see if Rick responds to the answer to that. If not, give us a call. We can help you do that. We'll pull your business credit report. We'll look through it with you, and we'll say. But whenever somebody says I have negative on my business credit report, it's the first thing I ask them is it actually on your business credit report? Okay, and Rick says, no, I haven't done that yet. Check DUNS. I check my NAV. So that's the whole point, is that if I think I have a negative on my credit report, the very first thing I do is I go to that reporting agency that I think that negative is with, and I pay them for my full report. It's worth it at that point. I get my full Dun & Bradstreet credit report. Then I look at it and I see, is that negative on there? Now, 9 out of 10 times it's not, and you're good. If it is on there, then you want to dispute it. And you can do that through Dun & Bradstreet's dashboard, or our team can help you with that as well. And Rick, I know you talked about what about this score on Experian Business? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking about, Rick. What do you mean? Your question says, what about the score on Experian Business? So I'm not exactly sure what that means. If you could give me some more insight, I could better answer your question. But the bottom line is, if you think you have negative on your business credit reports, you got to go get your business credit report to verify that it is negative. And if you get like a NAV report, which isn't very good data, we don't even recommend NAV anymore. But if you do use nav and they've got that really not accurate data, then the next thing is if it shows on DMB Equifax Experian on nav, the next thing I would do is pull the actual bureau it's with. Now, our clients use what's called Bureau Insights. So our clients get lender reports. We get the actual credit reports from lenders that would show that. But my advice to you, since you don't have that in the real world, is that you could either use nav and get limited data, then pull from the actual bureau you think the negative's with and verify that negative's on there. If it is, then you can go through and dispute it. You can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/credit suite. We've got training on there about fixing your business credit. And Rick, you said you were thinking about working with us. If you are a client, that's part of our services too, is that we work with you to fix any negatives on check systems, on LexisNexis, Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian as well. So for that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Don't forget to join us, funding50challenge.com. Scan the QR code or go to funding50challenge.com and register. It's 100% free. And we are about to cover June 26th, 50 different ways to get money to grow your business. I look forward to seeing you there. And then I also look forward to seeing you next time where we talk about more cool ways to get the money you need